Hello, welcome back to my channel everyone. I hope everyone is okay. It's Samantha back here with another little video, hopefully a cute little video, but you know me, my channel is basically around sitting and faffing around with things that make us happy. So I do all sorts of crafts, not just limited to wire working with jewellery. I also do all sorts of other things with lots of different media. So, you know, this is primarily a wire channel, a jewellery channel. I might start another channel one day where I sort of just share other little bits of faffing. So welcome to the northwest of England, my little corner of the world. And today I thought we would have a look at these cute little rose links. How pretty are these? Aren't they lovely? So you can use these guys for all sorts of things. Here's my camera doing what it should be. It's hard to tell because it's quite sunny coming through my conservatory window today. There we go. So I thought we would have a look at making these little rose links. So you can make them scrappy, you can make them flat and neat. Let me just show you. So I've made two different lots here. So these are the sort of flatter version, if that makes sense. And these ones are the more structural, scrappy versions. So can you see the difference there? It's my camera doing what it should be. So I'll show you how I've worked out, you know, how to make a flat one and how to make a scrappy one, sort of a bit more organic looking, if that makes sense. All right, so we'll go through that in a second. So I thought we would have a look at making these for earrings, and I'm going to replicate this lovely bracelet that I made for myself. I'm actually going to make a blue version for a friend of mine, and we'll go through the clasp as well. All right, so let's have a look at what we need. Although having said that, just before we get going on that, I thought I would show you a little bit of the Manchester Museum actually. I don't know about you guys, when I go out to museums or to galleries and things like that, I'm quite often inspired by history and historical exhibits, that kind of thing. And when we went to the Manchester Museum very recently, it's attached to the University of Manchester, but the museum has all sorts of lovely exhibits, all the way from sort of more contemporary right back to the Egyptian times. And as I was walking around the museum, I was I don't know about you, I am always drawn to the jewellery, and there's so many beautiful pieces sort of dug up from, like, I don't know, the Middle Ages or even prehistory, you know, sort of gold torque bangles and all those kind of things. And I particularly enjoyed it's only a small exhibit, but it is the Egyptian exhibit. And I always like looking at the Egyptian jewellery because they're just so spectacularly made and with beautiful materials like lapis and that kind of thing. So I just thought I'd take you for a very quick trip around my little trip to the Manchester Museum, and I hope you just enjoy these few little pictures. Isn't it lovely to be inspired and to see some beautiful jewellery that was made thousands and thousands of years ago? So anyway, back to today. Let's have a look. So I thought we would make the companion piece to this one. Like I say, I'm going to make this one for a friend of mine. Oh, we're having trouble. There we go. I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with the camera today because it's quite bright outside and I don't think it likes it. Let me see if I can sort this out. I won't be a second. So let's see if we can sort this out, this silly camera, honestly. So to make these little rose links, aren't they sweet? There you go. So they're quite nice behind. They're nice and smooth underneath, so you can wear them against the skin with no problems at all. So let's have a look what we need to make these guys. So materials wise, you're going to need some 0.8. I'm using bare copper wire. You can use whatever you want, 20 gauge. This is bare copper wire in soft, so I'm using that. Just pop that there because it's a big one. And I'm using a knitting needle as a mandrel. Now this is a 6mm knitting needle. I bought some really cheap, really cheap, cute little knitting needles, which you know, you can use for mandrels. I think I paid, I don't know, about £8 or £9 for a vast array of different sizes. So I'm using a 6mm mandrel. You're going to need some cutters, obviously some chain nose, that kind of thing. Just grab your favourite tools out. Don't think you'll need those, but you will if you're going to be making, you know, wire wrap loops and things like that for the beaded section. All right, so what else do you need? Just a ruler, actually, to measure out your lengths. And I'm just using these extremely pretty little blue heart shaped beads that came in the recent bead box from Craftica. So I don't know if you know anything about those. Maybe in my next video we'll have a look at who these guys are. And I think that's it. So let's stop chatting and rambling on, as is my wont. I'm sorry. And we'll get going, and I'll clear the table and we'll make the rest of this bracelet. All right, so I'll see you in a few. Okie dokie, guys, we're back. So to make each one of these little tiny cute little rose links, it takes 20 centimeters or approximately 8 inches, depending upon how you do your measurements. 8 inches will be fine, 20 centimeters. Each one takes that of 20 gauge wire, so that's 0.8 millimeters of wire. All right, so let's get going. So like I said earlier in my intro, you can make these little chaps either nice and flat and straight looking, or a bit more scrappy looking. Let's see if we can tell the difference on my fingers here. Let's have a look. So can you see this one is sort of straight and sort of flat, and this one is more sort of scrappy and wiggly. All right, so it depends on the look that you're looking for. So I will make and show you either one of those two. So when I was making these, I discovered that depending upon how you wrap your wire around determines how it looks. All right, so I shall show you. So I'll show you a flat one at the moment, and you'll know what I mean when we get going. So your 20 centimeters of wire, come in with your knitting needle, or indeed, you know, I don't know, whatever 6 millimeter mandrel you like to use, and place your wire around like so. And you want to wrap it over equally around the knitting needle once, and then back over. Make sure these are pretty even. Wrap it over so that these wires don't cross over. All right, so just make sure that these are pretty much the same length on either side. It doesn't really matter too much if you have a millimeter or so. It doesn't have to be exact. So this is what we have. Come on, camera. Honestly, it's not working today. So all of this next part is done on the mandrel. I'm going to call this little knitting needle the mandrel, for want of a better word. I like to use things, that don't cost a huge amount of money. So I think I paid, like I say, about £8 for, I don't know, a set of 10 different, which is nothing really, is it? Like £1.20 or something per set of needles. So all we do is take this guy here, and holding with your thumb this section here, just make sure that these guys aren't crossed over, so as if you were making a ring, you know what I mean, and then bend this around, and then twist, and then bend this one around. So you want to sort of cross them over like so. That makes sense. Now don't worry about these sections here being bent at this point, it doesn't matter. Just straighten them up if you want, and then around again. So around, and then this one around. So essentially we're making a little bit of a spiral. So just keep bending that around, and as you'll see, we're starting to get like a whirlwind effect here, and then around. You just have to use the pad of your thumb like so. So we just keep going around, and as you can see, I'm just moving the knitting needle around as I am twisting alternate wires like so. Now when we get to this point, we want to make a flat rose link. You just continue to wire wrap around, but we go underneath like so. Just keep wrapping underneath and sort of don't cross these wires over. So as you can see here, I'm just continue to bend them. Is that focusing underneath? Can you see that? As we wind it back round, underneath, like so. Like so. So just keep going around. You will get organic shapes, you know, they won't be perfectly circular, and that's absolutely fine. We don't want them to be. So as you can see here, we've got 2 wires and 2 wires. These ends here need to be brought into line about here, underneath. So use your pliers and just tug them so that these little wires are underneath here, or as near as you can. Can you see that? So we have this. I am struggling with my focus today, so we'll see how this goes. I might have to re-record, but we'll find out. Right, so pull it off your mandrel. And as you can see here underneath, we've got 1 wire coming this way, 1 wire coming this way. What we want to be doing is bringing that wire underneath so it sits on the top of the spiral, like so. You see that? The next thing we want to do is to be tucking the end of this wire inside the cup, because you've got like almost like a cup shape here. Can you see how it's sort of shaped almost like a cup? Yeah? So what we want to do is snip just about here on both sides, sort of in the center, if you will, like so. Get rid of those 2 little pieces. And what we want to be doing is tucking this little end inside that cup shape, inside there. All right, so when we open, we're going to be opening these 2 out. So when we open those 2 out, they will actually cover these 2 ends of wire. So this is what we have at the moment. It's almost like a tiny ring for a dolly, a little dolly ring. So it's a little dolly ring at this particular point. So what you want to do now is to spread these 2 little wires out. So I use my nails just because I have big northern hands and I can. If you can't, then come in with a pair of pliers or something. You want to be splitting these in half like so, and using your fingers, spread them out into sort of a figure 8 shape. So as you can see, the wires that we cut underneath are hiding behind this figure of 8. And if you want to, just give it a squash on the desk or on your table or whatever with your finger, and there is your flat little rose shape. Isn't that sweet? Absolutely cute. However, if you wanted to make a more sort of organic-y, scrappy-ish version, can you remember how we bent our wire around underneath? This time we'll bend it over the top, so I'll show you what I mean. So we do the same thing. Okay, sorry about that little break there. I had to answer the door. Typical, 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 as always. So all you do is do the same thing. Just cross these wires over, and as neatly as you can, with pretty much, you know, do it by eye if you want to, pretty much the same length of wire on either side. So if you can remember with the flat one, when we twisted the wire, we did it underneath all the time, didn't we? Just to make it nice and neat, like so. If you're wanting something a little bit more scrappy and organic looking like this, then you would, when we're bending things round, you just kind of bend a couple of times over the top rather than underneath. So let's bend these guys round to start a little spiral like so, all the time using your thumb to keep this spiral in place. Again, these are supposed to be organic looking. They're not supposed to be hugely neat. I think that's the whole point, isn't it? If you want perfect, then obviously, you know, buy something mass produced is my opinion. So as you can see here, I'm just starting this rose by just bending the wires underneath. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I mean, sadly, I have to keep my thumb on this part here to make sure that everything is in place. So as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit more height on this one. So bob this round. And when you get to this point here, with maybe, I don't know, a couple of inches left, just sort of try and pop them on top of the rose unit, if you will. So it gives it a little bit more height and it's not as flat like so. Until you get to about an inch left on either side, and then you need to bring them back under. As you can see here, back underneath, and then back underneath. All right, so can you see here that it looks a little bit more height-wise, it's got a bit more height to it, and it's less flat and a little bit more sort of what I call scrappy looking. Okay, so again, come in with your plier. We want these bottom wires to be on this side, not here, because that's where these two little rings are, but on either side underneath, like so. Oops. There we are. All right, so there's our more scrappy little rose. Bring it off your mandrel. And again, what we want to be doing is tucking these little sections. So, oops, snip that off. And bring this little section inwards a little bit and tuck it away in the bowl, what I call the bowl of the rose. All right, and again, cut that little section. Okay, and again, just tuck it inside. Like so, that's it. Because we're going to be opening these little bits out, like so, and squeeze backwards, make things nice and neat. There we are. And just squash it against the table just to flatten it off a little bit. So there is our little rose. This version is a bit more scrappy and this version is a little bit more flat. I know you'll see the difference. Okay, so I'm just going to go away now and just finish off the rest of the bracelet, because you know how to do these, or maybe I'll just do one. So you just need a piece of 0.8 and come in with your pliers like so. Just move these out of the way. And then you know how to make these, don't you guys? You've made plenty of these. So I'll just do this quickly. Wire wrap. And then we'll pop one rose onto there. Just pop it in. Then come in with your pliers and just do a wire wrap loop. You know how to do these. Super simple at this stage. Just wrap it round like so. Get rid of the excess and just squash that down. So I'm going to come in with these lovely little blue, turquoisey blue. I really like turquoisey blue and copper, don't you? I think it's a really pretty mix. So I am going all in the same direction. So just pop your little heart on like that. and make another wire wrap loop at the other side. I'll just do that quickly, like so, and around, like so, and then just pop your next link on. So I shall use this link here, just pop it on, like so, and just close up this side of the wire wrap loop. And then when I've done this, I will finish it off and I will come back and show you the little clasp that I used for this one, because you want a clasp that sits up and down rather than side to side. And I'll show you in a second what I mean. I'll just snip this off, like so. Just come in and tidy that section up. All right, so have fun making those, and we'll meet back here in a second where we'll finish this guy off. All right, so I'll see you in a few. Righty ho, so I've finished this portion of the bracelet. So if I show you my bracelet here, I have created 6 little rose links, and I have attached 2 jump rings and then the clasp. So I'll show you how to do that. See, well, you know how to attach a jump ring, surely. So, so I'll just pop a couple of jump rings, mainly because the jump ring section here is just so that you can not make the bracelet too long, but if you wanted to sort of add 4 little jump rings at this stage, you could. Depends on the size or the length of the bracelet that you're wanting. So when I've done this, I take about 7.5, 7.75 inch bracelet, because you know, I'm a decent sized lady. I'm going to say that politely about myself. But if you wanted to obviously make it for a child or whatever, just, you know, each one of these little links is about 1.5 centimeters. So as you can see here, that makes this bracelet about 7 inches long, just short of 7 inches. All right, so the clasp that I make measures approximately 1.5 to 1.75 centimeters, about 3/4 of an inch. So that, you know, keep that in mind when you're making your clasp. So let's go ahead and make the clasp for this one. Again, I'm using 20 gauge just because it's easy, and it's nice, I think, to be able to make a piece of jewellery just using 1 gauge of wire, don't you think? And then you can just, you know, take them away on your holidays, that kind of thing. So you just need 1 spool of wire. Nothing complicated. I'm going to take about 10 centimeters, approximately 4 inches of wire, like so. So to make this really simple clasp, what you do is at one end, you need to bend it around, I don't know, about 1/3 of the way down. Let's measure. I'm going to say 3 centimeters-ish. Just make a bend. So approximately around about here, not too long, because this will be bent over to make this bent hook here. All right, so you don't want it to be, you know, it to be too long. So bend it over, give it a squish as best you can. I know wire likes to fight us, doesn't it? Likes to do things that we don't want it to do. So we have this here. Okay, so the next thing to do is to bend your wire where this wire ends. Take your plier and bend it away from you. So you have this, all right? So this is when we come in with the plier. You can either use your round nose or your bell making pliers. I'm going to be making a wire wrap loop here. So with this loose bit facing you, I'm using the second step on my plier, bring it towards you to make a loop, and then away from you. All right, so this is what we have. So we've got our little bent section here. Can you see this little loose bit which butts up really close to where we've made our wire wrap loop here? This part here, you just need to be very careful and come in with your plier and just wrap this loose section over the top of both pieces of wire as best you can. Can you see how that's now encapsulated both of those pieces? You want to make a few wraps, because if you just leave it like that, then the loose section will come out. All right, you don't really want that, obviously. So once you've encapsulated both of those pieces of wire, just come around with a wire wrapping section like so. So essentially you have encapsulated both of these pieces of wire like so. Just straighten things up a little bit, and there we have it. All right, just want to snip off that little piece. Watch your eyes as always, and then just neaten that up like so. So if I bring this slightly closer, hopefully, let's see if we can get that to, there we go. So as you can see, you've encapsulated both of those wires in that wrap. So all you need to do now is to come in with your plier. I think I'll use the 5th step, butt it up and bend it around like so. So you've made a cute little clasp. Actually, no, I'm going to stretch that back out actually and just use the smaller, like so. Yeah, that's better. That's better. A bit misshapen, but it doesn't matter at this stage. There we go. So 4th step on my plier, and then use your pliers just to put a little lip on, like so. So that is our little hook. So all we need to do now is to attach it to our bracelet. So make sure that when you're attaching it, this part faces downwards. All right, so you want to attach against these little jump rings. Let's just take these off for now. I think it would probably be easier this way. Right, so just take your jump rings like so, pop your little clasp on and straighten up your jump rings, close them up, and then the other one like so. Again through here and then through your clasp. And that, my friends, is that. That's how I've been making these beautiful, beautiful little bracelets. And obviously, when you are putting them on, you just use the end of this last rose link to put your clasp through. Really, really pretty. Really simple, really pretty. Cute, 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 don't you think? I've been really enjoying making these, and obviously you can make them, you know, with earrings. You dangle these beautiful little glass, I don't know what they are, petals, I would think. And obviously with Valentine's Day coming up, again, make a gift for your mum or for yourself, a friend, whatever. Perfect to sell as well if you've got any sort of Valentine's events coming up. So I hope you have a lot of fun with those, and I hope that the sunshine and my silly camera not focusing very well doesn't take any of the pleasure away from the video. If it does, I'm so sorry. I'll see you on my next video. As always, it's a delight to have you here. Bye.